road pilot.
You take the video.
Yeah.
As
Oh,
it's
there you
all
go.
good. You can be like a YouTube video for us.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna take the natural gas orifice out and put the propane orifice in. I'll do that in a minute. See, it comes with a natural gas orifice already in, but the propane orifice is a smaller hole. So I'm gonna put that in and throw this one away so you don't
Okay.
have that problem. Otherwise, your pilot would be that tall if you use that orifice on propane. So, yeah, no, just mount it this way. It's all good. So, you're gonna mount the pilot. Sometimes we make a little bracket to mount it right here. Sometimes we just drill and tap a hole and put it right like that. That would be good. You put the see, this is a two-way pilot. Pilot flame comes out this way to ignite the burner. Pilot flame comes out this way to heat up the thermocouple. The thermocouple goes up in there, and the pilot heats that, and that's what tells the safety pilot to stay on. This will all be familiar stuff to your guy. This is not rocket science. This is pretty basic stuff. So I'm saying mount the pilot right about where I wrote pilot, just like that. Notice that there's, in addition to all the holes that you're going to drill around the edge, there's one in the middle there, there's one in the middle there, one in the middle there, there's one in the middle there. We call those crossover holes because when the pilot lights the outer row of holes, it helps carry the flame over so that the inners.
So you don't have to blow on it.
No, those are important. You see, the 4 crossover holes.
Okay.
That's it. So there's the pilot. Here's the thermocouple. It's a 36-inch thermocouple, so you got more than enough length to where you're going to mount the valve. Go through everything. Yeah. So.
And remember, Tori, we're going to drill these holes all the way around where he has the black dots, and we have the drill bit, which is the right size for propane.
You're just going to get more of them.
We just have to get more of these drill bits.
So, this is the control, the magic that does it all. It's a combination control. What that means is it's not only the safety pilot, that controls the thermocouple and the pilot. It's also the thermostat.
Yeah, okay.
It's
that's
what
my
tells
question.
the temperature of the room. It doesn't say 65, 70, 75, 80. You're going to get to know, it says low, 1 through 8, and then high. And you will get to know after you've got this thing all hooked up in your room that it's 3.5 is the nice temperature.
It's interesting because the kerosene, I always burned at 3.5. I never burned any more.
Yeah.
It went all the way up higher with that same thing on the side of my kerosene. That's what I burned it at 3.5.
Some of it is some of the setting is determined by where you mount the sensing diastat. This copper bulb right here is going to get mounted on the wall somewhere behind the stove, and that senses the ambient air temperature and sends a signal back to the valve and tells it when to come on and off.
So it will turn on and off then?
Of course, it's thermostatic control. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it's important to know, this is the most important thing in this whole conversation, that this is not a copper wire. It is a copper capillary. That means it's hollow inside with a liquid inside. And when the bulb heats up and senses, heat, the liquid inside, it's not mercury, expands and contracts. Mm-hmm. And the pressure of that expansion and contraction follows back and operates a device in here. When you uncoil this, you have to uncoil it gently. If you kink it, the valve's junk. You throw it away and get another one.
Okay.
So just, again, we're going to leave it nice and coiled up just the way it comes to me from the factory. And once you've mounted it, you will gently uncoil it and mount this somewhere on the wall about a foot away from the It's not that important where it goes. You just don't want it too close to the stove.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
Because then it's so. The valve is marked in. That's the gas coming in. That'll be whatever fitting made up to your existing gas line. And there's 3 outs. 1, 2, 3. You're only going to use one of them, and you're going to put these 2 black plugs in the 2 holes you don't use.
Okay.
So, and then the 1 hole you do use, these plugs are to keep dirt and crap out of there until it gets to its final resting place. I went out and got this fitting for you. A little pipe dope, of course, on there. And that, depending on how he mounts the valve, we're going to go over and talk about that in a minute. This will be the out, the gas out from the control to the burner. And I've provided you with a length of 3/8 aluminum tubing that'll come out here, and it will go into this special fitting. Which screws right into the venturi. So this is the metering nozzle that meters the correct amount of gas for the burner, and the other end of the tubing will come into this. So this is how the gas gets from the valve to the burner. We have modified this fitting. I did this during my cocktail time on Friday, I will tell you. We have modified this fitting and put a metered orifice. See that little teeny hole down in there? That the diameter of that hole has been drilled to the proper drill size for the BTU output of this burner, which is about 28,000 BTUs. He shouldn't have to change that. Okay? He should get a nice blue when it's all hooked up and running. Once he adjusts the air on the venturi, see this is, it's like adjusting a carburetor on a lawnmower. Not only do you adjust the fuel, you adjust the air. This adjusts the air, so you get a nice blue flame, about maybe 1/2 inch, 5/8 tall, with no yellow at the tip. If you have yellow at the tip, like a little snow-capped blue mountain with yellow at the top, means you don't have enough air, and you open it up just a little bit more. If you have too much air, the little blue flame, instead of burning right at the burner, the blue flame like lifts, almost like there's a space between the bottom of the flame and the burner. That means too much air. So then you crack it down a little. It's a fine adjustment at the end. But the flow of the gas should be proper. All he should have to do is fine tune the air.
Okay, and then once it's set, it should be set.
Good for life.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to tell you a trade secret. That's how I'm going to keep making a living, because I have to work the rest of my life, because I didn't plan life properly. At 70 years old, I'm still working harder than I did when I was 35. But some of the best service calls I go on are very wealthy people in Newton and whatever that I did stoves for 25, 30 years ago, that the woman calls up and says, geez, all of a sudden my pots are all black on the bottom when I use my big, 6-burner double oven Magic Chef for Glenwood. I don't know what's wrong. Well, I just have to come in for a service call. So I go into Newton for a service call. The only thing that's wrong is she never took the burners out and cleaned them once in her whole life, The burners are all gooey and crappy, so I clean them, drill out the holes and everything. Yeah. But when I look at the end of the burner, that venturi, it's all dust kitties. Because that burner, when the gas is squirting in through that nozzle, this is a venturi. It pulls air in with it and mixes the air-gas ratio to make the burner run right. Well, it's also bringing in all the dust and everything, and you get dust kitties built up in that little opening. Just a little dust kitty will affect the whole operation
So
of
I
the
should
burner.
blow it out or something?
So you just go in there and blow it. Well, of course, first I go down in the cellar with a pipe wrench and I bang on the pipes so it sounds like I'm doing something, you know, to justify what I just charged to drive into Newton. Okay, but really, all the stove needed was to have the dust kitties taken out. So, you know, I'm talking years
and
down
with
the
my
line.
Glenwood, because I still use my gas
Sure.
burners,
Yeah,
I usually take the whole thing out, and just so I'm doing it right, I take the whole thing out, put newspaper down, and then I'm banging on a little bit. But then I used
Use
to
a
take an
drill?
old hanger
Coat hanger.
and hanger and just
Go
poke out
all the way up in the.
poke out all these. Yeah, I just see these things. I just think, yeah, exactly. This is exactly like mine is. It's
Sure.
Hey, can I have these? These are a lot better.
That's what we do to make them look nice. but anyway.
Well, that's exactly like mine, except
Yeah.
that it's not.
So periodically you want to, on your surface burners, because food and crap gets caught.
Right.
Yeah,
Don't use a toothpick. Use a paper clip or a little drill.
right.
Because if you fire up the burner one day and all the blue flames are that high and then one of them's real small, it just means there's a little piece of something
Yeah.
caught in there. But also,
So this I don't do a lot. So that may be the issue. I have too
That's
much air in some of them.
Yeah.
not enough there, one or the other.
And
Yeah,
one of mine spit because I don't have an automatic. I have to light it with a match.
that's okay. That's the safest
What-
pilot there ever was.
One of mine actually
Pops back
pops
down.
back.
That's
She never likes to light.
that's gas air adjustment.
Yeah.
You can get rid of that by fine tuning your,
Okay.
see, just loosen up the pinch screw and just dial it in until you get a nice blue flame
Okay.
with no yellow at the tip and burning right at the port, not
So
raised
the
up.
yellow means I'm getting
Yellow-
too much air.
No, yellow means not enough
Not
air.
enough air, so I have to open this up.
Open it up a little, yeah. Lifting flame, it's almost like somebody's underneath blowing on the flame, making it lift. That's too much air, you gotta close it down a little. And just a little, with propane is very sensitive, so just a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
And then let it run for, you know,
That's
10 or
worth the
15
trip
seconds.
right here, because
Yeah.
I used to do this, you know, now we have another stove, we use this a lot. I use this more than Tori does, but.
Yeah, well, here's what you do to clean them. I mean, if you really want it, is people bring them down here. We run them through our lye soak tank and get all the grease out of them.
Really?
Then we sandblast them. Then we repaint them, and they look just like
You
brand
know
new
what,
again.
the next time I
Maybe
go.
next spring or
I
something
have a
like
daughter
that.
that lives in Wenham, so that.
Yeah,
if
there
I
you
can-
go.
you're only-
You got to leave them for a few days, but I could box them and ship them to you. They're not that
No,
fragile.
I'll do that.
You
If
know what
you
I'm
could
saying?
do that,
But
that'd be
that's one
wonderful.
of my other regular maintenance things for the customers I have that don't like to do the dirty work. They
Yeah.
just send like a 6-burner
I still
stove.
can't talk you into coming to Peaks for
Yes,
bring Manny
I
over
have
for
no
a
life.
for a lobster.
I have no life.
Yeah,
I
but you
work
gotta
every day.
stop and smell the coffee sometime.
And I
Man.
cannot.
You gotta smell the
I
coffee.
tell you, I have 26. If I'm gonna smell the coffee, I'm gonna smell my motorcycles. I got 26 motorcycles at home. I got no time to fix any of them.
God, this
I
is-
pay a
what-
mechanic $95 an hour
Wow,
to
you-
wrench
you
my
got-
motorcycles.
You got.
It's an induction cooktop.
Wow.
You know, this was a complete pile of junk. This was absolutely could
I
never
saw
been
Manny
worse.
has one in his